Water. But not only water, something else. And that is salt. How much water a day? At least 8 glasses. They're 8-ounce glasses, little by little, all through the day. It's the best blood thinner. When I used to be the health director at Misty Mountain Health Retreat in Australia, I did a live blood analysis. We took a drop of blood, put it on the screen, on the microscope, and it came up on the screen. And sometimes I would see blood that was all clumped, like this. Blood should be like this. And I would always investigate, and I would find in 99% of cases the person hadn't drunk enough water.
High blood pressure or hypertension is a serious health issue that affects over 1.2 billion people worldwide. In the US alone, nearly half of all adults, about 47%, have high blood pressure, and many don't even know it. Left unchecked, it can lead to heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, and even premature death. But studies show that simple lifestyle changes, the right foods and natural remedies can significantly lower blood pressure and reduce the risk of complications. So stay tuned as we dive into the science-backed ways to bring your blood pressure down naturally. But before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from today? Drop a comment below and feel free to ask any questions you may have. Let's get started.
Has this fat-free, low-fat diet, getting people to stop butter and eat margarine, has that reduced heart disease? Not at all. Not at all. But actually what it has done is increased cancer because margarine is a toxic fat. Your body cannot recognise it. In fact, you're better to eat butter than margarine because margarine is so toxic. What else have they done to try and reduce heart disease? Put everyone over the age of 50 on a blood thinner. That's right. And what's the common blood thinner that people are put on? It's aspirin. Well, let me give you the side effects for aspirin. It's also called Cartia. Side effects of aspirin: stomach bleed, it's the #1 cause of stomach ulcer. Brain bleed, big contributing factor to Alzheimer's. Eye bleeds, big contributing factors to deterioration of eyesight. Every drug has a side effect. Well, has that reduced heart disease? No, not at all, not at all. So what else has happened? Put everyone that has had a heart attack or a stroke on statin drugs. What are statin drugs? Statin drugs are cholesterol-lowering medication. Well, what we need to look at is what is cholesterol. The liver makes cholesterol, and it makes cholesterol using a couple of nutrients. 80% of the cholesterol that the liver makes is made from glucose, and 20% of the cholesterol that the liver makes is made from fat. Now, this one piece of information alone tells us it's not the butter on the bread, it's the bread under the butter. The wrong guy's been shot. It's not the olive oil on the pasta, it's the pasta under the olive oil. But as I showed you in the last lecture, it's what they've done to the wheat. I've had many guests come to our retreats, and we had a couple from Greece, and they were in their late 20s. They said, "We can't eat pasta or bread in Australia, but when we go back to Greece into our little village, we can eat that bread and we can eat that pasta." That's because in that little village they've still got the original wheat. They grow the same wheat year after year. It hasn't been hybridized. So let's look at cholesterol. There are 2 main types of cholesterol. One's called high-density lipoprotein, LDL. That's not quite right. HDL. That should be a D. L. High-density lipoprotein. High-density lipoprotein is called the good guy, the good cholesterol, because it's the carrier of excess cholesterol back to the liver. Low-density lipoprotein, or LDL, is called the bad cholesterol, but the body doesn't make bad things. LDL has a purpose. It's the repairer and the rebuilder. And as a repairer and a rebuilder, you'll always find it wherever there's a need for rebuilding and repairing. But LDL does something else. LDL delivers cholesterol to the brain because the brain loves cholesterol. The brain is the fattiest organ in the body. The membrane around every cell is 50% fat, except for the brain, it's 70% fat. And the brain loves burning fat as fuel because fat gives more than twice the units of energy that glucose does.
Now, if the brain is 70% fat and relies on cholesterol for repair and function, what happens when we take statin drugs that lower cholesterol? The brain is deprived of an essential building block, leading to cognitive decline. This is why we see an alarming rise in neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. In fact, research has linked low cholesterol levels to an increased risk of memory loss, depression, and even aggressive behavior. But cholesterol isn't just vital for the brain, it's essential for the production of hormones. Testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol are all derived from cholesterol. So when people are put on statins, they often experience side effects like fatigue, muscle weakness, and even hormonal imbalances. This is because the body is being robbed of what it needs to function properly. What's even more concerning is that many people on statins believe they can continue eating poorly because their medication will protect them. But statins don't fix the root cause of heart disease, they just suppress a symptom. Meanwhile, the real issue, poor diet, high sugar intake, and chronic inflammation, remains unaddressed. The same deception exists with blood pressure medications. High blood pressure is not a deficiency of medication, it's the body's response to stress, poor diet, dehydration, and lack of movement. Instead of addressing these root causes, people are given pills that artificially lower blood pressure without fixing the underlying problem. Worse, many blood pressure medications come with side effects like dizziness, fatigue, and kidney damage. So what's the real solution to heart disease and high blood pressure? It's not eliminating cholesterol, it's eliminating the real culprits, processed foods, refined sugars, and inflammatory oils. When we return to whole, unprocessed foods rich in natural fats like olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds, the body thrives. Cholesterol and blood pressure levels regulate themselves naturally when we provide the body with the right conditions to heal. Exercise is another key factor. The heart is a muscle, and like any muscle, it needs to be worked regularly. Walking, swimming, rebounding, and strength training all play a role in maintaining a strong cardiovascular system and balanced blood pressure.
And when I was in Scotland last year, I said, stop buying the polyester, support your local industry, support your sheep farmers, buy wool. And I was signing books and a young woman came up and said, I'm a shepherdess. Thank you so much for what you've just said. We're using our wool as mulch around the trees. It's been a total deception, really, hasn't it? And those chemical fabrics, little by little, they're coming in, they're disrupting body functions, they're getting into the blood, and they're eating away at the arterial wall. Okay, students, what's going to plug up the holes? LDL. And so it comes along and it starts plugging up the holes. What can also damage it is not only the many chemicals that we're exposed to, but it is also exposure to mold. Mold is a toxic poison. It can come into the body and it can damage the tissues. So absolutely the processed food, we don't realise what's on that processed food, artificial flavourings and colourings, and so the damage continues. Cigarettes contain approximately 7,000 chemicals today, it is estimated. Now, do you know what that's called? That's called 85% occlusion of the arterial wall. And a friend of mine, his name's David, he's a doctor of chiropractic. He's very fit. He goes to Europe every year, cycles, 200k cycles. He eats plants. He's a vegetarian. He doesn't drink or smoke. He was getting breathless. And his friend, who's a cardiologist, did an angiogram, and he said, you've got 2 arteries with 85% occlusion. You're a walking, talking heart attack, just waiting to happen. So they rushed him into hospital. They sawed his, I used to work in operating theatre, they saw those ribs open. They cut out the offending arteries. They cut a couple of arteries out of the back of the legs, sew that up and put them in here. And does that doctor tell the person to change their lifestyle, change their food? No, because doctors don't study nutrition, or they study about 4 hours in 7 years, which is crazy. I'm not against doctors. Some of my best friends are doctors, and I believe most doctors are ethical. I'm against the system that is not teaching the truth. And when the Bible says, put not your trust in princes, and there are a movement of doctors who are not putting their trust in the princes in the pharmaceutical company anymore because they don't actually tell the truth. It's like the article where I read, new cancer cure, 50% cure. Then you read the fine print, 2 people were tested and 1 died. So it's all the way see it. Is the cup half full or is the cup half empty? And so David had he had the 2 bypasses. He's 62. So I was talking to him. He said, it's genetics, Barb. Well, do you know what they're relating to genetics now? 5%. Genetics may load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger.
When arteries become damaged by chemicals, processed foods, mold exposure, and other toxins, the body attempts to repair them. LDL cholesterol rushes in to patch up the damage, but if the underlying issue isn't addressed, these patches build up, leading to plaque formation. Over time, these plaques narrow the arteries, making it harder for blood to flow. This forces the heart to pump harder, increasing blood pressure. Now think about what happens when a garden hose gets clogged. The water pressure rises because the same amount of water is trying to squeeze through a smaller opening. That's exactly what happens inside the arteries. When they become stiff and clogged, the heart has to work overtime just to push blood through. This constant strain leads to high blood pressure, which in turn damages the artery walls even more. It's a vicious cycle. Mold exposure makes things worse because it triggers chronic inflammation in the body. Inflammation is like a fire in your arteries. It makes them swollen and irritated, making it even harder for blood to flow smoothly. Processed foods, artificial additives, and cigarette toxins all contribute to this inflammation. Add stress, lack of sleep, and a sedentary lifestyle, and you have the perfect recipe for hypertension. Doctors often prescribe medications to lower blood pressure, but they don't always address the root cause. A better approach is to focus on natural ways to keep arteries healthy. Eating whole foods, reducing exposure to toxins, getting enough movement, and managing stress. Foods rich in antioxidants like berries, leafy greens, and omega-3 fatty acids help reduce inflammation. Exercise keeps the arteries flexible, while proper hydration ensures smooth blood flow.
So let me tell you the story of Dr. Dwight Graveline. He wrote a book called Lipitor, Thief of Memory. He's a doctor and an astronaut. I think he was in about his early 50s. He went and had his yearly blood test, and the doctor said, his cholesterol levels were 220. He said, oh, it's a bit high. So he put him on Lipitor. 6 weeks later, his wife found him out in the garden. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know where he was. So they stopped the Lipitor, and within 48 hours, his mind was clear again. 10 months later, he went back for his yearly blood test. His cholesterol levels were still 220. Doc said, I want you to go back on that medication because we don't want you to have a heart attack. Well, he doesn't want to have a heart attack. No one wants a heart attack. And Graveline said, I'm not going back on that. I nearly went mad on that. And the doctor said, oh, that's very rare. Why did the doctor say that? Because the princess in the pharmaceutical company tell him that. He said, all right, half dose. So he went on half dose. Why did he go on half dose? Through fear. 6 weeks later, his wife found him out in the garden. He didn't know who she was, didn't know who he was, didn't know where he was. Stopped the drug immediately, and within 48 hours, his mind was clear. It's not rocket science, is it? So he put his story up on social media. It was picked up, and he was asked, can we put this out there? He said, be my guest. Within hours, thousands of hits. The same thing happened to me. How many people have Alzheimer's because of the statin drugs they're on? If you are taking statin medication, you can stop immediately. There will be a side effect, though, I'm warning you. Your memory will return. That's the only side effect. There's no other side effect other than a plus. One lady said, well, what can I take to replace it? I said, why do you want to replace it? We need that cholesterol. Remember what Dr. Malcolm Kendrick said? I quote the cardiovascular surgeon, the British specialist. He said, for the first time, normal levels of a normal vital, did you hear that? Vital body substance. We need it to make our sex hormones. We need it to make our vitamin D. We need it for proper brain function. We need it. I'd also like to suggest, is there a need to have a blood test? Is there a need? I don't have blood tests because I don't have a need. Someone said, well, how do you know if there's something wrong with you? My body will tell me. My body will tell me if there's a problem. Everything works. Why does everything work? Everything works because I take steps. I go to bed early. I drink all my water. I eat nourishing food. So I do everything that I know the body needs. So we've looked at everything that's been implemented to reduce heart disease, and it has not. And if someone has a heart attack, they're given a protocol. No matter who you are, no matter what your age is, no matter what your size is, no matter what your health or sickness status, you're given a protocol. Have you noticed? So when my friend David, the chiropractic doctor, came to our retreat, when he heard all this, he stopped all his medication immediately. He stopped the blood thinning medication because he discovered an excellent blood thinner. It's called water.
Drinking enough water plays a crucial role in maintaining healthy blood pressure by keeping the body hydrated, supporting circulation, and preventing unnecessary strain on the heart. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker because there's less water in your bloodstream. This makes it harder for your heart to pump blood efficiently, increasing blood pressure. Think of it like trying to push syrup through a straw. It takes more effort than pushing water through. When the heart has to work harder, it leads to increased pressure in the arteries, which over time can contribute to hypertension. Proper hydration helps keep the blood at the right consistency, making it easier for the heart to circulate oxygen and nutrients throughout the body. Water also helps maintain the balance of electrolytes like sodium and potassium, which are essential for regulating blood pressure. When you don't drink enough water, sodium levels in the blood rise, causing the body to hold on to excess fluid. This extra fluid increases the volume of blood, which raises blood pressure. On the other hand, drinking water helps flush out excess sodium through urine, preventing fluid retention and reducing strain on the cardiovascular system. It also ensures that blood vessels stay flexible and function properly. When arteries become stiff due to dehydration, it restricts blood flow, forcing the heart to work harder to push blood through, leading to elevated blood pressure. Another way water supports blood pressure is by preventing the release of stress hormones. When the body senses dehydration, it activates the release of vasopressin, a hormone that causes blood vessels to constrict, leading to increased pressure. Staying hydrated helps keep these stress responses in check.
So before I close, I want to introduce you to a few herbs. One is the cayenne pepper. In Psalm 104, verse 14, the Bible says that God gave herbs for the service of man. And cayenne pepper is one of the best heart herbs we have. Cayenne pepper does three things. It thins the blood. Whereas aspirin, it thins the blood to the point where it causes eye bleeds, brain bleeds, and stomach bleeds. It's not a safe drug. Whereas cayenne pepper, it thins the blood and it'll heal the brain bleeds from the aspirin in the brain and the eye and the stomach. Cayenne pepper also dilates the blood vessels. So with dilating the blood vessels, you get a more effective and efficient flow of blood through the whole body. And cayenne pepper strengthens the arterial wall. So if there has been damage in the arterial walls, the cayenne pepper will strengthen arterial walls. It's a powerful herb. How do you take it? Start with 1/4 teaspoon in about 1/3 cup of water just before each meal. Throw it down, it'll tingle a bit, but the tingle stops. The other herb is hawthorn berry. Hawthorn berry strengthens the heart. In fact, if the blood pressure's low, it'll bring it up. If it's high, it'll bring it down.
Garlic is one of the best herbs for lowering blood pressure. It contains allicin, a compound that helps relax blood vessels and improve circulation, making it easier for the heart to pump blood. Studies have shown that regular garlic consumption can significantly reduce both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Olive leaf extract is another powerful herb known for its ability to dilate blood vessels and reduce inflammation. It contains polyphenols that help regulate blood pressure by improving arterial function and reducing oxidative stress. Celery seed is often overlooked but has been used in traditional medicine for centuries to support heart health. It acts as a natural diuretic, helping the body eliminate excess sodium and reduce fluid retention, which can lower blood pressure naturally. Ginger is also beneficial because it helps improve circulation and relax blood vessels. It has anti-inflammatory properties that prevent artery stiffness and support overall cardiovascular health. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Let us know in the comments what natural remedies have worked for you. Stay healthy and we'll see you in the next one.